Good evening, and thank you for stopping by. My name is Bill Morse, and the name of this program is What Do You Think? This program will be every Thursday from 6 to 6:30 here on this channel, and I welcome you each week to stop by. Purpose of this program is to involve you, the viewer, to share your opinions, to call in with questions or possibly with answers. Each week, I will bring up a question to which you can answer. And as always, I am open to other themes or other possible questions that you would like to hear broadcast on this program. You can always call the studio and leave a message for me. Again, my name is Bill Morse. Now, the question for this week is, given the background of, according to spiritualists and astrologers, the planets in our solar system are in a very unique alignment. If you're old enough to remember the age of Aquarius, sung by the Fifth Dimension, I believe, in 1969, it was a period of light, it was a period of understanding, of revelation, and it was a time of hope. Again, if you remember 1969, there was a lot of stuff going on, would actually challenge what's been happening in our own country and around the world the last 12 months. But anyway, getting back to the age of Aquarius, we have entered the age of Aquarius, according to spiritualists and astrologers, and they are predicting a lot of light metaphysically and perhaps also physically will be coming into the world, and people's level of awareness will be heightened over the next 1 to 2 years. Secrets would you like to see revealed? What has been kind of itching at your brain for a while? What don't you understand? Many things are beyond our ability to fathom because they are so deep and far-reaching and also intertwined with other seemingly non-related but indeed related occurrences. So that's the point of tonight's broadcast. My question to you, and you may call in using the Zoom information down below, is what mystery would you like to see revealed to the American public over the next 12 to 18 months? And there are a lot of secrets. My pet secret or my pet revelation would be what happened to the more than 800 American POWs who did not return in '75 after our conflict or war with North Vietnam ended. Many people don't realize that we left people behind. Again, the official and unofficial counts range between 800 and 1,000 people that are missing in action. You may see the missing in action or the POW black flag with the white silhouette of someone, a serviceman, standing behind barbed wire on a flag that is flown beneath the American flag. We still fly that flag. Many of us, particularly veterans, want answers even at this late stage in time, when unfortunately the vast majority of people who were indeed left behind have died. This was, what are we talking about, almost 50 years ago. So given the conditions and age, and you can imagine it's a shortened life would await anyone who was held in captivity without necessary nutrition or medical attention. So just to go a little further on, there have been over the years, since '75, since the late '70s, I would say up until um, the 90s, there were repeated sightings of Caucasian men in camp locations wearing the black pajamas or work clothes, and that these sightings were from Vietnamese locals, mostly farmers, because we're talking agricultural areas far removed from uh, urban areas. And so the question is, why didn't they come back? Certainly, many, many, many POWs did come back and reunite with their family and friends, and we are very grateful for that. But they weren't all. I understand, and my knowledge is limited because when the war ended in 75, I was 19. Yes, 19. But I know that Henry Kissinger, and excuse me, in working with then President Richard Nixon, had gone through Paris peace conferences with Hanoi, with the North Vietnamese, for a number of months, and that a deal was worked out whereby we would leave South Vietnam and the North Vietnamese would come in. Richard Nixon called it peace with honor. So I think since time began, people have always been playing with words, peace with honor. Anyway, part of the agreement, and someone call and let me know if I'm wrong on this. Part of the agreement was that we promised the North Vietnamese $5 billion, and that's B as in boy, $5 billion aid package after the war and after our troops had been safely returned home. That deal was forgotten, and the U.S. government reneged on that $5 billion promise. My belief, and again, it's just my belief, is that these several hundred men were held as a bargaining chip or collateral. And when the aid did not come through, and when you consider what $5 billion gets spent on these days, was a lot of money then, but again, if you think back, the war was very unpopular. There was shame associated with the war. The vets, the GIs were not, service people were not welcomed back in many cases. So it was a war that America was very keen on forgetting, and so the aid was forgotten as part of this peace deal package worked out through the peace accords. And the GIs subsequently stayed. They were held and held and held. No financing or no aid came through, and so they stayed there. They were stuck. And my question is, looking through archives, I believe it was then Senator John Kerry who headed a commission that looked into the veracity or the truthfulness of these sightings by local Vietnamese people. And at least in one documentary that I've seen, it seemed that the commission headed by Senator John Kerry dismissed the sightings as unfounded or as mistaken. And the sightings, the matter of investigating these sightings was dropped. So nothing came forward. I believe that there was evidence. I believe that there was proof. I just think that it was politically inconvenient to recognize that these American service members were still alive in a hostile country, and that they were going to be held unless we did something. And as you know, we did nothing, nada. So my question is, I want to see the archives open, the records open. I want to see this evidence stirred through again. I want to see us, reputable delegations, service members, and forensic experts going over there, and we have a better relationship with Vietnam. With their cooperation, of course, revisit the sites where these sightings took place. I would love that the Vietnamese would cooperate and open up their records as to where these sites were, where these men were held, labor camps, and at least bring back remains to families and friends, well, families, the grandchildren, the nieces of these people that were forgotten and left behind. So that is my mystery that I would like to see cleared up by the U.S. government, by the Vietnamese government, so that we can have closure to this very painful chapter in the history of the Vietnam War. It was officially called a conflict, but it was indeed a war. We lost 50,000 people over there. That's killed, not to count the people who were wounded, who came back with disabilities, who suffered from Agent Orange, as well as the people in Vietnam trying to work with what was left of the agriculture. So, I await your call on your mystery, something that you would like to see clarified by declassification, or perhaps during this age of Aquarius, as the, I guess you would say, energy level or the vibration level of people is raised and there is greater understanding. I think we're at a stage where peace, two different kinds of peace are possible. A peace that comes from us and each one of us as individuals in a collective, and the other kind of peace which is also being pushed, not from, let's say from another source, is one that is peace that is dictated from a central worldwide government that is not elected, but issues decrees, and thanks to technology, has the means to enforce compliance. So I think we have two different kinds of peace awaiting us in the next, I would say 5 to 10, maybe 20 years. Two different kinds of peace. Hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed and I'm praying that it is the peace that comes from each one of us, the peace during this enlightenment, this age of Aquarius, and not the peace that is dictated from a group of people that make decisions for us. So, let's see. Okay, we have a call. And I'm going to let this person in. Hello, you're on What Do You Think with Bill Morse.
We have a call.
Hello?
Yes, hi. You're on the air with Bill Morse on What Do You Think? Do you have a mystery that you would like to see clarified, either locally, nationally, or internationally?
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me all right now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, what's your mystery?
Well, my question is kind of more basic, and I want to know, why does Bellows Falls still fluoridate their water when all the surrounding areas, as far as I can tell, do not, and only about 5% of the world fluoridates their water now. And when I did some research, there's some problems that fluoride, I know it's supposed to help your teeth and all that, but if you have it's very toxic, fluoride, and it causes birth defects, osteoarthritis. It could potentially cause bone and uterine cancer. Especially with children, this concerns me with their IQ. It can affect their IQ. It can cause ADHD in young children. They do tell you that you should, if you have children under a year, they shouldn't have any fluoride water. So I don't understand why we continue with this. And from the research, I mean, it may help a little bit, but overall, there's not a noticeable difference. And when most of the world doesn't use it, I'm wondering why we still do it here. Is it something that someone could tell me why, or is it something that they can change and help? Because it really affects children a lot. And this really worries me for the future of our kids in the community. And also, to a little more ethereal, on the pineal gland, if it's calcified, apparently, which it can be, fluoride is one of the causes of that. And so people don't sleep well. It connects you, if you believe it, with your intuition, and why wouldn't you want to expand on that? So it may not seem like a big deal, but it's important to me, and I think for the community. And I just thought if there's anyone out there who knows about the water treatment or what's going on, maybe they could call in if they have the answer to that question.
Okay, very good. I understand your concern, and I have one or two questions to kind of contribute. From your research, do you know that whether or not pregnant women run a risk of, by drinking fluoridated water or using fluoridated products such as toothpaste? Has there been any scientific research or medical study that shows that the fluoride had an effect on the baby while during the 9 months of pregnancy?
Well, I do know from the reading that I've done, there are potentials for birth defects if fluoride is high concentrated. And here's the thing, fluoride is not just in the water. Fluoride is in soda. Fluoride is in bottled water, depending on what brand you buy. It's in other things. So cumulatively, it's in infant formula. From what I read, it's in supplements and vitamins. And so maybe they test the water here and they control the amount that they disperse through the community. But if you have children who drink other things or you drink other things, it potentially, if you're a mother, could potentially cause problems with birth defects. So I can't give you the exact numbers, but I know from reading that it does potentially cause problems.
Okay, very good. I was thinking of one product, toothpaste, and I know that there's a particular brand, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, Tom's of Maine. I'm not sure they use fluoride. I think they concentrate on using baking soda, which sounds like a safer alternative. But
well,
please go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I would advise people to look at the list of ingredients. I don't know if bottled water, if it has fluoride, if they're under regulations to list it as an ingredient or if it's just says water. It's a good question. Next time I'm at the supermarket.
That's a good question. You're absolutely right about toothpaste. There is fluoride in most toothpaste, but you can buy Tom's.
Okay.
There's other brands that you can find that does not have fluoride in it.
Okay.
And what the problem is that it's in so many things that people don't even realize. And when you cook, let's say you want to make rice or something, you use water, right?
That's true.
Tap water, unless you can get a filter, and that's relatively inexpensive.
If I may break in for a minute,
to cook with.
All right, I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
If I may break in, we have another call. I'm going to let them into our studio. Please hold on.
Do.
Yes, hi. You're on with Bill Morse, and what do you think?
Bill, how you doing? My name is Bill also, and I want to do a couple of questions. One, I missed last week. I couldn't get in last week
That's quite all right.
because of the
Right,
bot.
we were working out some.
My question from last week is, you know the TV series, The National Treasures, all the episodes of The National Treasures
Yes,
with Nicolas Cage.
I do remember
are
that.
Any of those are any of those true? And from our forefathers and the Masons, you know, I'd like to know if any of the parts of that National Treasures are true of all the stuff that they showed.
Can you give one example, Bill?
Well, you know, they went down into the bottom of the capitals and the Washington Monument and all that, and you know, they found different treasures and different things, and you know, are there things buried underneath our Capitol and things like that?
I would say yes, and only because the tunnel system beneath the Capitol and the White House has been in the news lately with the protests and the movement of people from one building to the other through this system of tunnels. It is my understanding that many of the government buildings in Washington, D.C. are connected underground through tunnels. So why not have vaults whereby, if anything, communications equipment or perhaps other items that are of defense interest to the very least would be kept? So I would say yes, there is a network of tunnels and probably vaults or chambers that are used for safeguarding items that are installations that are critical.
Yeah. Okay. Now the second question, tonight's question, was it? Refresh my memory on tonight's question. Was it? If I could live anywhere, where would I want to live?
That is next week. This week
that
is
next week.
Yes. Yes. This week is if there was a mystery that you would like clarified, and you would like clarification on the underground network beneath Washington, D.C., and also the role of Masons in the formation and the continuance of the United States. Was that the other point?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
All right.
So,
that is worthy of at least a half-hour discussion with yourself and other people. As far as the mystery is concerned, many people are not aware of the role Masons play in our society. If you look at a dollar bill, the pyramid, the triangle, the numerology in many in the layout of Washington, D.C., it's something I do not know a lot about. Other people do, and I think it's worth discussing because not only did it have do the Masons and other groups have an impact on the formation of our country through Washington, but they also have a hand in the banking industry, in the entertainment industry, and in many, I would say there's probably not one department in the U.S. government that, and also other governments in the U.K., for example, that do not have a strong influence from Masons and other groups that are not out there in the public, so to speak.
all our forefathers.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And the idea was,
okay.
and the idea was you were a group, you would help each other, especially if you're in a new situation, a new town, a new country, and you helped each other. It was a club, and we still have the club, and the club is still having a very strong impact on decisions.
Okay.
All right. So
Very good.
Thank you, Bill. And I believe how much time do we have? That's it. So I'm going to say goodnight to both of you. And thank you for calling. And please stop by next Thursday at 6 o'clock. And the question will be, if you had the means to live somewhere else in the world, where would you live and why? Thank you for tuning in.